Your tweets are making front page news, your shows are selling out in minutes, and your album's about to hit the top of the charts. What does this moment feel like for you?
I just feel so happy, so blessed, like, so, I don't know, I don't even know, there's not even words for it. It's like, it's something that you dream about and you think about for so long, like, since I was a kid, becoming this musician, that you always have these dreams of like one day releasing an album and then you drop it and then people like it and then it's a #1 by God's grace, like all these things, and I'm thinking, rah, like this is actually happening. So yes, it's a lot to take in, but it's all good.
But your rise has been supercharged. Only 4 years ago, you were working with oil rigs and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
how have you made this happen?
I always say I put it down to God firstly, and then I've tried to be as hardworking and as committed and as focused as possible, like to try and achieve things that are maybe out of the ordinary for like someone like myself to achieve. So I've just been driven.
Gang Signs and Prayer, you talk about your faith, your relationship with your mum and your dad.
Yeah.
Is this album a way of coming to terms with your past, coming to terms with your upbringing?
Yeah. So this album for me, like, it's my first ever album, so I've never actually done this before. But for me, this process was like, it was very therapeutic. It was about me telling my truths and being as brutally honest as possible and show my story in the best possible way, because I'm a 3D person, like we all are, like in the sense where I stand for so many things. I got different messages, all these different things I represent and these things I want to say in my music, and I had to get that all into one body of work. So for me, it was about letting the world know who I am, where I come from, my story, my culture, everything to do with that. But it was also for me to kind of try and solidify my pace as an artist and not just like an MC. Because even when you listen to the album, it's not. I like to think that everyone can listen to it, and that it's not something for people to listen to and disregard as that's just that grime music that, you know, it's all aggressive and all this. Like I've tried to make something universal, something that we can all listen to, all relate to. So I think it's one of the things that you just got to give it a chance. You got to listen, man. Like you got to feel it. You got to experience it.
So does that mean that you feel like grime's been disrespected in the past? What are the misconceptions around the culture?
I feel like it's very easy at a first look at grime or UK rap underground music. At a first look and at a lazy look, it can be dismissed as something that's aggressive or abrasive, but it's not the case. Of course, there's aggression because we're coming from a place that fuels that and channels that, but it's way deeper than that. Like there's layers to it, there's depth to it, there's variety to it, and it can be something to be shared with the world. Like I always feel like there's been this stigma of like grime or UK rap or urban culture is like, it's just between. Do you know what I mean? It's just here, but it's not. It's for the world. It's universal. Like I feel like there's something in our struggle, in our triumphs that is universal, and everyone can listen and everyone can get involved.
The album gives a really human face to a grime artist, something that we haven't seen before, etc. I mean, you paid for a billboard near your old school in Croydon, and it said, "All my young black kings, rise up, man, this is our year."
Yeah.
How do you want them to rise up? What's your meaning behind that?
By just doing it. Like when I say doing it, I mean by just focusing and just rising up, like literally as in realizing your true potential, like realizing that within yourself there is a talent, there is a gift, there is a purpose that needs to be fulfilled, and you need to do it. Like just go and do it. Like I feel like there's always been this thing of you can't do that or you can't do this, and it's like, no, you can. So even on this album, that's something I wanted to kind of address, like, no, we can do this, man, and we can do this on a global scale as well, not just like in our little estates in South London. No, like we're here, man.
In what way should they be aspiring to be more aspirational? Is it about them, or do you feel politicians aren't doing enough to help support around their communities?
I feel like personally, I feel like we can't rely on politicians or the government or the system to take care of our needs. Like I don't think anyone can do that. I feel like you shouldn't rely on like a system to decide whether you're gonna be successful or decide whether you're gonna like be important or count or even be considered. I feel like it's on us. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not I'm tired of like screaming at politicians or saying, oh, like that. I'm tired. So I'm just saying, we can do it. Like, let's bring the power back to the people. We'll do it. Like.
And they're really encouraged by those words. And every time we speak to them, you can hear that they're respecting that and they're trusting you.
Yeah.
But without the words, what's the action you want them to take? How do they rise up? What is it you want them to do?
I want them to be better. I want them to be more focused, to just realize their true potential, man. I hate to sound like, you know, like a motivational, like life coach or something. It's nothing to do. Like, it's just like, find your purpose. Like, we're all here for a reason. And sometimes it's easy to look at our artists. I even do it myself. Like, I can look at Ed Sheeran and think, oh my days, like, but he's found his purpose. That's where, do you know what I mean? Like, that's all it is. He's found his purpose. I found my purpose. Find yours and go for it, man. And don't aim anything less than for the top and for the stars and for the moons.
But you know what they'll say to that? They'll say, yeah, but Ed Sheeran's a young white man. We're young black men.
Yeah,
what are the difficulties and pressures on young black men in 2017 in the UK?
I don't think much has changed from the difficulties and pressures we've been dealing with since I wasn't even alive. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think much has changed in that sense, but I feel like it's now the time to stop looking at like politicians or the world to help out. Nah, it's like, no, we are intelligent, we are ambitious, we're incredible, we're amazing, we're all these things, so we can just do it, man. Yeah.
Is it race, do you think, or is it class? Because, you know, white, young, working class boys are failing in education as well. Do you think the system's failing everyone?
I feel like the system was always created the system that's in place now wasn't created to serve all. That just in terms of like the actual logistics, and when you add it up and you look at, it's not made to service everyone. So just don't look to that system for it to service you. If you feel like you're from like a group or a minority or a background or a culture or a faith that feels like you've been ostracized, that's what I'm saying. Like, my message is, do not look there for redemption. Like, it's within yourself. Like, you can, like, we've got this. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
When you see those young people who are going to follow in your footsteps, etc., some of them go off the wrong road, etc., do you look at them and go, there for the grace of God go I, that could have been me getting into trouble, etc.? Yeah. What was it about Stormzy that made you different and not go down those paths?
What was it about me? I feel like my mum instilled a lot of things in me early. Like, my mum's such an integral part of me. I was about to say my career, but that's even wrong to say. She's an integral part of me as a man, as Michael, away from this Stormzy stuff, just as a man. But for me, it was a mixture of my mum, the grace of God always, and I don't know, somewhere down the line, I just kind of realized that it's within myself. Like, from an early age, I figured out I can do this. And I don't know where that stems from, but I feel like I'm done looking for where it stemmed from. Like, I've been trying to search for time in my head. Like, where did this come from? Forget that. Can't locate it, but it's in all of us. So now I feel like I just got to let people know it's in you. It's in you. Like, I found it. Like, I found mine, but it's in you. And that's what it is. I feel like it's about showing people that it's in them, because a lot of the times people can't see it. And it's all like, it's blurred, but I'm saying, no, like, bro, I could have been anywhere in the world. Like, I could have been dead, I could have been in jail, I could have been working here, I could have been working there, I could have been doing this, but I'm here. And that's because I found it within me and I went for it. And it's within all of us. Every single person on this planet is within us. So, yeah, man.
One of the reasons you stand in a league of your own is you always speak up on injustices. Like, we were mad excited when we saw you cussing District and telling them how it was, etc. Not just about racist nightclubs, but everything that you've been unhappy about, whether it be Brit Awards, etc. Do you feel that now you've got success, it encourages you to speak up more about inequality and poverty and subjects like that?
Yeah, I feel like it's such a weird complex, because I feel like these are all views that I would have had, regardless of if I was a musician, regardless of if I was Stormzy. So, like, but now I find it empowering that I've managed to get to a certain platform, a certain stage in my career, and I'm able to say things. I feel like if you have a platform and you're not saying nothing, then what are you really doing with it? So I love the fact that I'm able to say things and it resonates. And with that comes great responsibility, because now when I say something, it's almost a little bit of a thing, do you know what I mean? So I've got to think twice now. And so with that I learn as well. But it's crazy. I like the fact that if there's an injustice, if there's something funny going on, or if there's like anything that's a bit against the people, I can say something, I can stand up. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how much it counts in the grand scale of things, but I can do my little bit. Yeah.
But that's really frustrating for me to hear you say that you have to think twice now about what you say, because actually that's the reason we love you. It's because you do speak out about stuff. So are you going to stop being as vocal about things?
No. The what I meant by I think about what I say now is, for example, before I used to be like a bit of an idiot. So like I don't know, like I might be getting drunk with my friends and like Snapchatting it, like, yo, this is so sick, and I clock, hang on, no, like that's gonna resonate. Do you know what I mean? So now not to say I'm not gonna get drunk with my friends, but like, do you know what I mean? Like what I say resonates. So say the right things and say important things and say like things that matter. Don't just go and, because I have the ability to inject poison into the world, which is scary. As much as I got the ability to inject truths and good things and say, yo, that's like, I also have the ability to stand up and say, oh, like, and plug whatever. So I'm careful about not plugging poison as much as I'm a man with many flaws. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm not perfect, but now I can think and I can, do you know what I mean? Say what resonates properly.
You say that you have this power to inject positivity and negativity into the world. The world is a scary place right now. Yeah. You're having a great moment. But what about Brexit, Trump? Does everything that's going on in the world bother you? Is that something you would speak on?
Yeah. It's like, do you know what it is? A lot of the times, like on those bigger subjects, unfortunately, I don't have the answer. Which is like, sometimes I feel like I'm meant to know the answer. Like I'm at a platform now where if I had the answer, but sometimes I don't know the answer. As I said, I'm just a man. But all of the mad things that are going on in the world right now, like all these negative things and the things that are dominating the media right now, like the likes of your Trump and Brexit and all of these things. Like I feel like that's why I keep on reverting back to the people and not those things, because they've happened now. Do you know what I mean? As much as people don't agree with what's going on, they've happened. Brexit's happened, Trump's happened, all these other whirlwind of negative news in the media, they've all happened. So I feel like there's good people. Like the planets are good. Without sounding so philosophical, like I don't want to go there, but we're good people, and the power's within us. That's why I always draw it back. Like you do your bit. Like focus on you, your community, your world, and your spirit, and hopefully it's like a domino effect, hopefully.
You mentioned earlier that you want to give the world a different message about grime. Globally, you want to show it's more than what people might perceive it to be. So I rang up your team and I said, why doesn't Stormzy have a cup of tea with Jed? And that all happened at the Brits, etc.
Oh,
the Brits happened, you had an amazing moment, everyone loved it. Yeah. But still, there was a bit of uproar because no grime artist won any Brit Awards. How did you feel about that? Do you care? Does the scene care? Or do you think the establishment just doesn't understand grime?
I don't think no one cares, you know. Not in like a negative way of, well, we don't care about that. I think just in a like in the best way possible, we don't care, in the sense of, cool, there was the injustice with the Brits like last year. Big up Jed and the whole Brits committee card. They rectified it, like more acts were included that should be nominated, like your likes of Skepta, Neo, Kano. And unfortunately on the night, none of us took anything home. I lost to Rag and Bowman, who's a worthy winner. All these things, you know what I mean? Like, so it weren't a loss, man. It weren't a loss. We was there. Like I was there. Skepta was there. Kano was there. Neo was there. Like we was inside the building, and it was an incredible day. We all enjoyed ourselves, and we'll win. We'll win some Brit Awards one day. Right now we didn't. It's cool, man. We march on. That's how I see it, man. We march on, man.
Well, people are talking about the Stormzy model now when it comes to music, because actually you've probably got record labels around the world running scared because they're putting millions into campaigns and marketing, and you guys with a handful of your team have literally taken yourself to the top of the charts. Is that something you're aware of? Should record labels in the music industry be scared?
Should they be scared? Boy, now, now I've got my own record label now. So #Murky is like officially a record label. So for that reason, they should be scared. That's me being like a competitive musician and like music businessman. Like, so in that sense, they should be scared. But yeah, I feel like the power's in the hands of the people. Like a proper without sounding so like politically like active or whatever the word is. Like the power is in the people. So anyone now, like I feel like in this day and age, like you can get up and you can make a blog, and then that's a thing. Like I'll read your blog, and then my friend will read it, and then wow, okay, we love this person's blog, and then you've automatically established yourself just in that world. You can be a YouTuber, you can do all these things. There's so much different ways, and it's like the power's in yourself now, man. It's not in none of these corporations or these big brands, or it's not there now. It's in every single one of us, So we got this now.
In the last couple of years, what's been your greatest moment, and then perhaps your lowest moment?
My greatest moment, in all honesty, my greatest moment has probably happened just now with releasing my album, like my first album. Like I got to this. I had the blessing of getting to a platform where I can drop an album, like and I can get it out to the world. Do you know what I mean? And that you can't buy that, man. Like you can't buy the opportunity to make an album. Do you know what I mean? And especially with the album that I've made, like, and I'm so proud of the music, and I feel like I've made something that has matched the artistic ambition I had, because I've always had this artistic ambition of taking it further and going further than I've ever been, and pushing myself and exploring and trying to be a credible artist and trying to establish myself amongst the greats, the likes of your Frank Oceans and your Kanye West and all these amazing Adele's, Amy Winehouses. Like I want like these incredible musicians. And with this album, like by the grace of God, I feel like hopefully when people listen to it, they will see that I've tried that mission and I've almost completed it. So yeah, that's just my proudest moment. Yeah.
And then the lowest?
The lowest moment. My lowest moment, funnily enough, my lowest moments probably come from, like, in the middle of the album process. Like, I had quite a low moment where, like, I had to deal with like things within myself and being this 23-year-old guy from South London who no longer lives with his mum anymore. I don't live in my old area anymore, and I've had this blessing of having a musical career and of seeing the world and performing and people listening to my music, and then dealing with all the side effects of that, as well as life at home and family and all of these things. And for once, like, it was like a whirlwind for me. Like, usually, you know when people say it's like a roller coaster of emotions. Like I didn't really know what that meant until recently, when it's like, wow, like it just hit me, like life hit me. And yeah, that was probably my lowest moment, when I think it was a mixture of things that just kind of hit me at once.
So one of the lines on the new album talks about you dealing with depression. 10% of young people now, young men, deal with depression. It's a really huge deal. Can you talk about what you were going through then when you were depressed?
Yeah, like, do you know, I found it so strange and so almost a reality check of, basically, I'm not gonna lie, like for a long time I didn't really understand like the depression. Like I didn't get it. It's easy to dismiss, and it's easy, and I'll hold my hands up and say I didn't even know like how it gets. Like when someone says they're like, you just think, oh, okay, like go bed, wake up, go gym, and it's gone. Like but for me it was like a realization of how fragile we are as humans in the most beautiful way possible. Like in the sense where I always saw myself as this like strong person who just deals with life. I get on with it. Like if something gets me low, I pick myself back up. Like that happens, we march on. Like that's always been my philosophy, even down to the point where one of my closest friends who was suffering from it, I used to like dismiss him in and it wasn't even in a harsh way, but I just used to think, just be happy. Do you know what I mean? Just pull it together. And then when I went through what I went through, it was like, wow. Like I felt stuck, you know, like I felt stuck, like what, like I'm not this strong person that I thought I would. I am now I know I am, but you almost realize how important it is to keep loved ones around you and to keep yourself focused and sane and all these things. And that was a world that was so alien to me. I just used to think you just get up, march on. So for me, I felt like on this album, if I didn't address that, like what I was going through, because even then I had another complex of where I thought, okay, I went through this, but I don't even know if I want the world to know if I went through this. Like, yeah, something I went through, my friends know I went through it, my family knows I went through it, but the world doesn't need to know that. Because to the world, I still want to be strong Mike. I want to be strong.
So what convinced you to talk about it?
The fact that, what convinced me to talk about it was the fact that if there's anyone out there going through it, I think for them to see that I went through it would help. Because for a long time, I used to think like soldiers don't go through that. Like you know, strong people in life, like the bravest, the most courageous people, they don't go through that. They just get on with it. Like any person who I admire or look up to hasn't felt like this. They just pick themselves up. Do you know what I mean? And that's not the case. Like a lot of the people I look up to, I don't know what they've dealt with. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it was like, this is what I dealt with. So if there's anyone listening who thinks, raw, swear down, like Stormzy feels like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I always like, I feel I always come across confidently and happy, and I've always made sure that like I don't promote negative, like and I just present myself in a positive way so I can spread that. So people will be looking at me thinking, no, I don't go through nothing. So for me to just let people know, no, I do go through that. I thought that was important, like for people to know that it's not that you're weak and that you can't handle life, or it's nothing to do with that. Sometimes you're stuck and life does that, and it happens, you know what I mean? So I thought, let me let the world know that, let me do my bit of like, but it was very difficult, but we got it out on the album.
I'm sure it was difficult, but it will definitely help.
Yeah, definitely.
You mentioned going from your old place of living to your new place. What's that been like? What's the new place like?
Oh yeah. I have the blessing that I've managed to progress, and I've managed to work hard enough that I was able to get out of my former situation of not living in the particularly best of conditions, but that's just a blessing from God. I'm just happy. I'm happy with that. You see, when you further your life or you better your life, I'm just happy with that, man. Yeah.
And finally, when you stop and have a moment away from the stage and away from the recording studio, who do you thank for the last couple of years? What's going through your head when you're having a moment of clarity, as Jigga would say?
I thank God. I thank my mum, my whole family. I got such an amazing group of friends. Like my friends are like my team. So like we got a small knit team. Like as I said, like Murky is officially a label now. So. And I've got all my family and my friends working on my own record label, like on my own music with me. So I think them. I think all the musicians, all the producers that I've had the pleasure of working with. Like I feel like any journey, any good journey, is more of a testament of the amazing people around you. As much as I've worked hard and I've done my thing and I've focused and I've managed to get to where I am today, it's a testament to everyone around me, everyone who's helped along the way, all those thank yous. If I had to list out the thank yous, oh my days, we'll be here forever. But so many people have helped me along the way, and now I'm here with a debut album, like, and yeah, it's incredible, man.